Here's what meteorologists don't want you to panic about. Hurricane Erin just became 2025's first Atlantic hurricane powerhouse, and while it's currently packing a dangerous 125 miles per hour punch as a Category 3 storm, the real story lies in what's happening inside its core structure. Erin's internal transformation creates uncertainty, while residents across the Caribbean region slept peacefully overnight. Erin underwent a fascinating meteorological phenomenon that most people never hear about. The storm experienced what scientists call an eyewall replacement cycle. Essentially, Mother Nature was rebuilding Erin's engine from the inside out. Picture this: a completely new eyewall was forming around the existing one, like nature's version of a mechanical overhaul. This process temporarily weakened Erin from its previous Category 4 status down to Category 3. But here's where it gets controversial. This weakening might actually make Erin more dangerous in the long run. Current position and immediate threats. As of the latest National Hurricane Center update at 8 a.m., Erin was positioned approximately 170 miles north-northeast of San Juan, Puerto Rico, maintaining those formidable 125 miles per hour maximum sustained winds. The storm's central pressure has dropped to a concerning 940 millibars. And for those unfamiliar with hurricane metrics, lower pressure typically indicates a more intense storm system. But here's the part most people miss. Erin's outer spiral bands are currently unleashing torrential rainfall across the northern Leeward Islands, Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. We're talking about 2 to 4 inches of rain as a baseline, with some isolated areas potentially receiving up to 6 inches. That might not sound like much compared to the wind speeds, but this rainfall is happening right now, creating immediate flood risks that often get overshadowed by wind speed headlines. The strengthening controversy. Here's where meteorological predictions become genuinely controversial. While Erin temporarily weakened due to its internal restructuring, the National Hurricane Center expects this eyewall replacement process to complete soon. Once that happens, Erin will likely regain Category 4 intensity later today. This creates a fascinating debate among weather experts. Is a temporarily weakened storm that's about to strengthen more dangerous than a consistently strong storm? Many argue that these rapid intensity changes make hurricane preparation more challenging for affected communities. Erin's projected path tells an interesting story. The hurricane will intensify back to Category 4 status as it approaches the Turks and Caicos Islands, then maintain that strength while moving toward the southeastern Bahamas by Monday. Tuesday morning marks what forecasters call the critical pivot. Erin is expected to make a sharp northward turn, steering away from the Bahamas while maintaining Category 4 intensity. By Wednesday, the storm should weaken to Category 3 as it curves east-northeastward into the open Atlantic waters. Current projections show Erin missing Bermuda entirely, which is certainly welcome news for the island's residents. The computer model agreement and what it means. Something remarkable is happening with the forecast models. They're showing unusual agreement on Erin's projected path. The so-called spaghetti plot models, named for their resembling tangled spaghetti noodles when they disagree, are remarkably synchronized this time. Not a single major model is predicting a significant westward deviation toward the United States mainland. While this consensus should be reassuring, here's a controversial question that needs asking. Are we becoming too confident in computer models? Some meteorologists argue that this level of model agreement, while comforting, might make forecasters and the public complacent about potential last-minute track changes. Unexpected impacts for the U.S. coast. Even though Erin is expected to remain well offshore, the United States won't escape unscathed. Starting Monday and continuing through late Thursday, the eastern seaboard will experience what meteorologists call indirect impacts. But don't let that term fool you into thinking they're minor. We're looking at extremely rough surf conditions and dangerously high rip currents extending from Florida's coast all the way up the eastern seaboard. Here's the kicker. Erin is forecast to double, possibly even triple in size during the week. This expansion means that even areas hundreds of miles from the storm center could experience tropical storm-strength winds. The most concerning possibility, there's still a chance that North Carolina's Outer Banks could see tropical storm conditions by late week, depending on exactly how Erin's track unfolds. This possibility highlights a critical point that often gets overlooked in hurricane coverage. You don't need to be in the direct path to experience dangerous conditions. Active watches and warnings. Currently, the Turks and Caicos Islands remain under a tropical storm warning, while the Southeast Bahamas are under a tropical storm watch. These alerts reflect the immediate threats these regions face as Erin continues its northward journey. The swells generated by Erin present their own set of challenges. These powerful waves are already affecting the northern Leeward Islands, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and Turks and Caicos Islands throughout the weekend. By early next week, these same dangerous swells will spread to the Bahamas, Bermuda, and the entire U.S. East Coast. And this is the part most people miss when they hear just swells. These ocean conditions create life-threatening surf and rip currents that can be just as deadly as hurricane winds for anyone near the water. Florida's specific concerns. For Florida residents, the primary threats remain rough surf and dangerous rip currents. By mid-next week, Central Florida can expect wave heights reaching 4 to 6 feet, conditions that make beach activities extremely hazardous. This is definitely not the week for coastal recreation or water sports. Local forecasters are emphasizing that even though Erin will pass well to the east, the storm's expanding wind field means Florida's coastline will feel its effects throughout the week. The unwelcome news: more systems on the horizon. Here's the news nobody wants to hear. Erin isn't operating in isolation. Meteorologists are currently tracking a secondary tropical wave off the African coast, highlighted in forecast discussions with a current 20% chance of development. While that percentage might seem low, multiple computer models are suggesting this system could organize into something more significant by mid to late week. This raises a controversial question that deserves honest discussion. Is our hurricane season becoming more active than historical averages suggest it should be? Some climate scientists argue we're seeing evidence of shifting patterns, while others maintain we're simply experiencing natural variability. Behind this secondary system, yet another disturbance is being monitored, creating what could become a parade of tropical systems marching across the Atlantic. Local weather context. While all this hurricane discussion unfolds, Central Florida residents are dealing with their own weather challenges today. Morning temperatures started in the pleasant upper 70s to low 80s range, with locations like Sanford recording 78 degrees and New Smyrna Beach reaching 81 degrees. However, afternoon conditions will shift dramatically. High temperatures are forecast to climb into the mid-90s for inland areas, with coastal regions reaching the low 90s. A 60% chance of afternoon and evening thunderstorms is expected, with Orlando potentially hitting 95 degrees. Some areas in northern Marion County, including Romeo, Redwood, and Citra, are dealing with visibility-reducing fog this morning, though this should clear as temperatures rise. Looking ahead, Tuesday and Wednesday show lower rain coverage locally. But remember, coastal areas will be contending with those rough surf conditions and high rip currents until Erin moves far enough away to stop influencing our marine environment. The bigger picture and questions worth asking. As we track Erin and these developing systems, it's worth asking ourselves some uncomfortable questions. Are we adequately prepared for what seems to be an increasingly active pattern of hurricane development? Should coastal communities be reconsidering their emergency preparedness protocols, given these rapid intensity changes we're seeing more frequently? Erin represents 2025's first major Atlantic hurricane, and while its current track keeps it away from major population centers, the indirect impacts remind us that hurricane dangers extend far beyond the immediate landfall zone. What do you think? Are we seeing evidence of changing hurricane patterns? Or is this just a particularly active period that fits within normal variability? Should communities hundreds of miles from a hurricane center be taking more aggressive preparation measures when storms like Erin expand their influence so dramatically? These are the conversations we need to be having as we navigate what promises to be an active Atlantic hurricane season extending through November 30th. The debate continues, and your perspective on these evolving weather patterns could help shape how we approach hurricane preparedness in the future.